Hi besties, how's it going? I'm back with another K-pop opinions video. This time I'll be sharing with you some opinions that most K-pop stans probably don't want to hear. Like I always say, these are my personal opinions, they're not facts. So if you disagree it's totally fine, just be respectful about it. Anyways, let's just start. Don't expect 50-50 to win Saudi, or even Roddy. When it comes to Song of the Year, people have to realize that it's based on Korean charts. Korean, not international, because those are Korean award shows. So it doesn't matter how well 50-50 is doing internationally, they're not doing well enough domestically. I'm not saying they're charting horribly on Korean charts, definitely not, but they're not charting like a Song of the Year should chart. In comparison, Love Dive, that won Song of the Year last year, charted extremely well and its longevity on the charts was insane, nothing like Cupid. This year New Jeans are most likely gonna win Song of the Year with Ditto, but even if it's not gonna be New Jeans to win, it sure as hell won't be 50-50 with Cupid. And as for Rookie of the Year, they're also never gonna win it if Baby Monster debuts this year, which I think they will. I think 50-50 deserves so much, because they're really talented and their success with Cupid is crazy, but if we're going to be realistic it's gonna be hard for them to even get a Rookie award. Idols have to realize that fans are not their friends. I thought about this after the recent situation with Stray Kids Bangchan and his comments on juniors not bowing back to him, which made IVE get an unnecessary amount of hate, not only once but twice. Now, I have already talked about this and I don't necessarily want to go too much into detail, but even if Chan didn't necessarily do anything wrong, I believe that he and other idols should be more careful about what they share with fans. One thing is talking to your friends and your family members, the other thing is talking for thousands of people to hear. As much as it's great when idols want to speak their minds and open up to fans, I believe there's a line that shouldn't be crossed, because you're essentially saying something and putting it out to the world. You don't know who is listening and you don't know how people listening might react. Some people are legit crazy, some people are mean, you don't know what they might do with what you say. So I just think idols have a certain responsibility towards their fans and they should avoid saying things that could potentially get someone else in trouble. They should avoid giving ambiguous and vague statements that will just make K-pop fans go on a witch hunt to find someone to blame. I just hope nothing like this will ever happen again in the future. If you always complain about everything, maybe it's time you move on from K-pop. I swear to God, if you have to complain about literally everything, then I think you should ask yourself if you still enjoy K-pop. Because it makes no sense for you to keep on following it if you always complain about how you don't like any new group, you don't like the new generation, you don't like your faves music anymore, you don't like any concept, you don't feel a connection with any group and things like that. There comes a time where you have to stop and think if you should still follow K-pop if all you do is complain. Being a K-pop stan is supposed to be fun, and I get it. Sometimes there are things you might not like and you will complain. That's fair. But some people are literally so negative about everything and it seems like they no longer enjoy anything K-pop has to offer. So at that point you should maybe find a new interest instead of constantly complaining and ruining the fun for everyone else. You can't take mistreatment's claims seriously after seeing what real mistreatment looks like with groups like Luna and Omega X. Everyday K-pop stans cry about an idol or a group being mistreated and it's always for the most ridiculous reasons. I'm sorry but an idol getting less lines is not mistreatment. A group getting only one comeback per year is not mistreatment. If anything these things can be mismanagement, but you can't compare this to what real mistreatment is. We've seen it with Luna and Omega X, and if there was something I hope K-pop stans would learn from this was that the mistreatment they scream about is not actual mistreatment. But even tragic situations like Luna and Omega X's weren't enough for K-pop stans to understand, which is kinda sad. Idols are also responsible for the parasocial relationships between them and their fans. Companies pushing the boyfriend and girlfriend image on idols and making them seem available to the fans is the main problem when it comes to parasocial relationships. But companies are not the only ones to blame. Sometimes idols are responsible for feeding fans delusions and we need to talk about that. I'm not saying that idols have to be straight up and reject their fans every time. It's okay to play along. But there have been some instances where idols told fans they were never gonna date anyone because they loved their fans the most, or that they didn't want a boyfriend or girlfriend cause their fans were already their boyfriends and girlfriends, and I just think these kind of things are very unnecessary. I know companies tell idols to play along and to try and seem available to fans, but some things can be avoided and idols shouldn't cross a certain limit. At this point I can't even fully blame fans if they become delusional and start believing they have a chance with their faves, because maybe they're literal kids who believe everything their idols say, so how can you even put all the blame on them? I think companies are still the main problem when it comes to parasocial relationships between fans and idols, but sometimes idols take it too far and it needs to be said. Ditto's choreography not fitting with the song is actually what makes it so good. It seems like most people didn't really vibe with it and I can understand why. The song is very subtle while the choreo is definitely much more energetic and they don't match at all, but I personally like it so much exactly because of this. It's something unexpected that catches you off guard, but it's honestly super interesting and New Jeans managed to make it look natural even if the choreo is definitely kind of unnatural for a song like Ditto. At the end of the day it just comes down to personal preference and I get why so many people had a negative opinion. But the fact the choreo and the song are mismatched is what makes it so good in my opinion. There isn't, or at least there shouldn't be, a rule about encores. Some people expect idols to sound very good, others expect to see idols having fun on stage, other people expect idols to do both, but no matter what happens, people are never satisfied. If a group has fun on stage and they have some voice crack or sound a bit flat, then people will attack them to no end. But even if a group does a perfect encore, some people will have something bad to say, commenting about how encore stages are supposed to be playful, and if an idol just stands and sings and it's too boring, like I don't get it. There has never really been a rule and I don't like how K-pop stans are trying to create one. If a group wants to jump around and act all goofy during an encore and they don't necessarily sound too perfect, that's fine. If a group wants to stay still and just sing, that's fine too, and you have no business complaining about them being too boring and saying they should be having fun. There has been so much criticism surrounding encore stages that I do not blame idols if they feel like they need to sing perfectly, but at the same time, you do an encore stage after you win, so if you feel like you just want to celebrate the win with your fans and not take yourself too seriously, that's great. Of course this is not an excuse to sound totally horrible. In that case I think it's fair to criticize a group, but other than that, I don't think people should take this too seriously. Well, we have reached the end of the video. These were some K-pop opinions that I think most fans don't want to hear. Let me know if you agree or disagree down in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.